This is a very, very, for lack of a better term, interesting way of putting in a pan liner. It's a new construction house, and I guess the guy that came in here to do this pan liner was not the plumber. I find it hard to believe a plumber would do it quite like this. It's all folded up and bunched up in the corners like he didn't know what to do with it. He's using galvanized nails in here to hold it in. The galvanized nails, I suppose, are okay. I would never use those personally. I would use screws, but you know, this bunch up, it's hard to see. This bunched up area, you can never get wallboard on. You can't get wallboard on that. Look at this curve. It's all bunched up, folded up, like they didn't even know to cut it. To cut it at the corner would have been the smart thing to do, but instead they just bunched it up in the corner, folded it over on itself times 3. So there's one layer here and then bunched up here, 2, 3. There's no way wallboard is ever going to go on this curb correctly, nor is it going to go between this bench. There's not even a 2x4 here to put your wallboard against. So you have the 2x4 at the corner, and then I guess the wallboard is just going to float over here. I don't know, but there has to be a scabbed in piece of 2x4 here, so you have something to put your wallboard against. Same issue over here. You know, there's no 2x4. There's no scabbing involved here, so I don't know where they plan on putting the wallboard, unless it was just going to come around this corner here and then just kind of float free in the corner. Maybe they thought this piece here on the face of the bench would hold it steady or whatever. I don't really get it. It's a big nail that he never even bothered pounding in. I don't know what's up with that. Look at that. What a mess. What a mess. So he did some cutting here, but he didn't cut it in the right spot. This is I don't know. Look at that. Look how tight it is there. Like, this should be loose so that it fits up in the corner snug. And when they wrapped it, nailed it on the other side, they didn't give enough slack for this. There's a huge area that's just at an angle here. Look at that corner. That's just craziness. So the corner here can be confusing a little bit. What they really should have done is they should have just cut it along here like that and then wrapped each flap over on itself, glued it down. That would have been the smart thing to do. Even if they had just cut off the excess from here and here and had a little gap in between, they could have just, you know, had an overlap piece that glued down. But to do it that way, I don't know how. Look at that. I don't know what expectation they have about ever getting the wallboard on here with a triple layer of pan liner. It makes no sense. You get a triple layer there on the corner here, back in the back corner over there. It's just a mess. So unfortunately, they glued this down. They didn't even use the proper glue. Oh, it looks like caulking. It looks like silicone caulking that they put on there. The flange is cockeyed. You can't see it on the camera angle, but it goes up that direction. If I put a level on it, the bubble is going to go way up there. So the flange wasn't even put down correctly because it looks like they tried to taper the plywood at the bottom, but they didn't get quite enough taper on this edge. So when they set it down, man, this flange doesn't even come with any screws to hold it. This is a different type of flange than what I'm used to. Well, I'm sorry, that's the top part. The bottom part is where they should have screwed it down, but they screwed it and glued it at an angle going up that way. So that was kind of dumb. I mean, this is new construction. There's no excuse to have that going on. That's not even acceptable in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, Getting back to this bench, so that's enough of critique on how not to do a shower pan liner. But getting back to the bench, so a lot of people get focused in on making sure your bench is waterproof, especially when it's wood like this. I don't know why they went with, hold on a second. I don't quite know why they went with 2x4s on top of this bench. Like, look at that. I mean, not that that matters, because ultimately wallboard is going to wrap around it anyway, but like, why would you do that? Like, what's the reason to put 2x4 in the crosshair when a piece of plywood could have worked just as easily to cut a triangular thing on there and then just screw the plywood down on top of there? I guess more to the point that I'm trying to make is this pan liner does not need to be wrapped around the whole bench. What they could have simply done is they could have gone to the level, whatever level they're coming up with the original pan liner. They could have come up to that level, cut it off along there, you know, just have it all nice and neat like that, right? Then if they felt like they needed extra pan liner to wrap around, they could have custom cut another piece of pan liner that would have a flap that would go over, and then they could glue the flap 4 or 5 inches over the other pan liner, glue that in, and then they'd be good. They'd only have 2 layers of pan liner, which is okay, if they felt like they needed to do that. But honestly, you don't even need to do that. You know, you can go up your 8-9 inches. In this case, they did about 14 inches. Go up your 14 inches or whatever, and then just wrap the whole thing with wallboard. Wrap your entire bench with wallboard, and you're going to put a topical membrane on it, whether it's a Schluter membrane, whether it's the Red Guard, which I prefer, or any other topical membrane. You're going to envelop this whole shower wallboard with anyway, including this bench. And so when you put 2 or 3 coats of this topical membrane on top of your wallboard that's wrapped around this bench, no water will ever see that wood, ever, ever, ever. And then of course you're going to tile it, and you're going to grout it, and you're going to put some type of sealer on the grout, and so that's going to preclude any water from getting into the bench. I think some people go crazy with trying to prevent water getting into a bench, and is the reason why I see a lot of people do this pan liner wrapped around the bench. So I'm not saying not to, but if you're going to do it neatly, and then you're still going to put wallboard over it, and you're still going to waterproof, because that's where the Achilles heel is of anything. I don't care if it's a wall or a shower or whatever you happen to get wet on, you still want to put a topical membrane, Red Guard or something like that. So that would be the second layer of defense, and then of course the first layer of defense would be this being the third. Second layer of defense would be your wallboard and Red Guard, and then your third would be doing your tile properly, making sure that you have a slope on your tile going this angle, having as little grout lines as possible, and using a good decent grout, and then sealing your grout afterwards. That stops water from getting into your bench, not your pan liner. So your pan liner would be the third layer of defense in case you screwed up on your wallboard or screwed up on your tile. But anyway, that's my take on it. This is just real shoddy. This is not anybody that should be doing this type of work at all. I mean, I'm not the best person, you know, out there doing work. I'm sure there's other people better than me, but I wouldn't do this in my very first shower, you know, from 16, 17 years ago. I wouldn't do a sloppy job like that. So I'm just saying.